To regular Germans, the most appealing thing about Hitler was that he was not an officer, one of those who had attended officer school, and neither was he one of the educated nobility, but Hitler was a commoner who read popular German history and Wild West novels by Karl May. In his little rented room, Hitler had many maps of Europe and biographies of military leaders and an extensive collection of heroic chivalric myths, and he had an encyclopedia with plenty of pictures and many books about the Great War, and Hitler also had a dog named Wolf. When he wasn't trying to write poetry in his room, Hitler was sitting in coffee houses or in taverns where people were allowed to bring their own meals to eat along with their coffee or beer, and for the Nazis there was no more first class and coach, but all were considered brothers in the same boat. The year of revolutions in 1848 had put fear into every noble aristocratic heart, and while Hitler hobnobbed with as many aristocrats as would align themselves with his cause, he insisted that he was a worker among workers, and to prove it, Hitler would eat his lunch sitting in his car next to the new chauffeur. Hitler used his speeches at the meetings to raise funds for the party, and people were asked to give $1 each to hear him speak, and when Hitler's speeches turned the meetings into rolling fistfights, they would march to the Rat House to continue the party there. While they collected dues from the members and took up collections at the meetings, the Nazis were careful not to keep financial records, so each group was self-supporting through their own contributions. The German Hells Angels would put on their uniforms and make the rounds of restaurants and coffee shops to pass the hat, and the local restaurants would save a table in the back for friends of Hitler, and people started calling him the King of Munich. Small business owners donated all they had, and local stores gave party members discounts, and little old ladies gave money hidden in their cookie jars. People donated paintings and clothes and jewelry and supplies and made personal loans to the groups interest-free, and when the party couldn't afford to hire office workers, people would donate their time and labor. The groups remained poor in these first years, and the early days had been their best times before they found success. Hitler made friends with men who belonged to weekend militia groups like the Arbeitsgemeinschaft der Kampfverband, or the Weekend Warriors, and Hitler attracted people who enjoyed picking fights, and anyone who took a beating from the German Hells Angels or the stormtroopers became the most eager to sign up as new members. From neighborhood groups, the Nazis formed local intergroups called group circles, and the circles answered to block wardens, and the warden districts reported back to party headquarters, and they became more successful when they started choosing chairmen more carefully. Christopher Isherwood said that Hitler would speak in smoky rooms full of people drinking beer, and that they would hoot and holler and heckle him, but he would keep speaking until they started to listen, and once he had their attention, they went silent and would surrender themselves to his passionate dreams of a Germany reborn. Hitler would talk on and on until sweat ran down his face, and once he lost 20 pounds during one speech, and Isherwood said the German Hells Angels helped Hitler by protecting him physically and escorting him around town, and that the brawling gave them the feeling that they had not lost the war from being incapable of fighting.